The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derbies, hosts of the 2014 Bash for Cash Memorial Day Weekend, Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Their event sponsors, DerbyParts.com and DerbyTees.com. Additional consideration provided by Cioppa Racing and CioppaRacing.com. The 2014 Keystone Nationals, July 19th, Brookville, Pennsylvania. And GH Graphics and their Junket apparel line. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast coming to you live from the 2014 Bash for Cash in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. And now your host, Chris Marport. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast coming to you. You can hear in the background the 80s heat, still the 80s feature, still on the track. We're down to about 5 cars there. A heck of a day. We are going on our 13th hour of Demolition Derby action after the consies took off at about 11 o'clock this morning. Interesting turn back the clock heat. We'll get into that. But first, guys, Brian Tompkins, Josh Decker, both with me here at the table at what's left of the Cioppa Racing Pavilion. They're basically waiting on us to finish up our afternoon action. And it's been a heck of a day.
Oh, it's been a very full day of just non-stop smashing. Again, like you said, since 11 o'clock this morning, my ears are ringing from all the motors I've been hearing.
And you were picking on me because I had earplugs in earlier.
Well, hey, real derby drivers don't wear earplugs. We've been dealing with the tags all day, and they've been a great group of guys. They're harassing us still.
How about you, Brian? I mean, you were able to take in a lot of that from right there trackside.
It was just an amazing day. I mean, just so many cars wrecked, so much good competition in each class.
Each class had something different in it.
Oh, absolutely. How about the guy that wins the raffle car and has the front bumper 6 foot high in 2 hits, and then junks the rear end, and 10 fresh car, 10 minutes junk. As
on the clock from when they counted down to 1, from 1 to the drop of the green flag to when he was shoved up against the wall, he was on track for 15 minutes and 43 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, and hats off to him. I wish we knew his name. Hats off, man. You did what you did a great deal with that car.
Chris, you got your keys on you?
And that's his. No.
Oh.
No, I do. You got the keys to the truck?
I happen to have the keys to the truck.
Excellent. At least we know where they are. We talked a little bit about the results that are already in. Josh Braun walking away. Up to an hour and 15 minutes now.
In the 80s class.
In the 80s feature.
The turn back the clock was an hour and 5
still
minutes.
5 cars left out there. Among them, Adam Fushi still out there making hits, and we've also got Daryl Monroe, who are 2 cars that we talked about in our morning pre-race show. So those guys have run it right down, and they're looking pretty strong.
Adam Fushi, who changed the motor today.
Yes, Adam Fushi changed the motor today. Adam Fushi,
I know, what's amazing.
Don Santel was also in the running for it, looking for some redemption after the miscalculation with the front bumper at Razorback Rumble earlier this year. So that's he's out there doing just fine for himself.
Oh yeah,
and you can hear him in the background. They're still running. There's a lot of the cars out there. They don't sound like they're laboring too much.
Oh, they're not skipping a beat. Again, we're an hour and 15 minutes in. We're in about an hour and 15 minutes in, and they're not skipping a beat.
No.
You're not hearing them bog down at all, and you can hear them in the background.
I mean,
there's just some nasty motors.
All those motors, they sound like they've been running for 5 minutes.
9 left still?
Well, there's 9 left?
Holy cow.
Wow.
It's really been amazing that these guys have run 40, 50, or a minute or an hour long heats, and now we're an hour and 20 minutes, and there's 9 left.
Yeah,
just amazing builds, guys.
They have been plenty busy today, with all the preparation that was going into making sure that those cars were ready. Yeah. We talked about Bobby Brockway, who had a lot of metal packed in around his steering box, wasn't able to get his car out there. Adam Fushi went through the process of changing a motor, borrowing one from one of the Canadians, much like you did at Spring Explosion back in 2013.
Yep.
So I mean, the whole day, when you look at what was going into these cars and the thrashing and the effort that went into getting those cars ready, Brett Relier comes down here, gets one of the chain and go 80s cars, and runs down to 5th.
Yeah.
Broken drive shaft.
Axle. He broke an axle on it.
Axle. Okay.
It was running like junk, but kind of a neat class. I mean, they're running their batteries up front. They're running gas tanks in the stock position. He had the visors in, the carpet in, and I'm pretty sure he just rolled down the windows. I don't know if we're supposed to say that, but I'm pretty sure he just rolled down the windows.
Rumor has it.
We tagged it pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, we found a can of spray paint laying on the ground, and we tagged our names all over it.
That was a lot of fun.
So what do you think, Chris Mark? What do you think of today's on-track activities?
Yeah.
It was a busy day. There was a lot of stuff that was junked. It was a lot of fun to be here and take it in. To see all the different styles of builds and all the different stuff that went through between. Where you go from the 80s wire class, the stock class, the strictly stock class. You've seen compact trucks, full-size trucks. There were so many mini cars that registered that they split the field in half. So there was 2 groups of compacts. They had a youth class. Just everything, front to back, was just a fantastic day. And here we are, approaching. At midnight, it's going to click off hour number 13 of Demolition Derby straight through.
So awesome. But great point what you said. We saw just about every different style of car get wrecked out there, all different kinds, and it was a fun day. It really was a full day, and we watched trucks, small trucks. I mean, couple heats of compacts, youth. The wire class was like a 40-minute.
Yeah.
And before that was the bone stock street class, and they said that was over 30 minutes. I thought I called 6 minutes. Boy, was I off.
Right.
Yeah.
Boy, was I off.
Yeah, it was.
The only issue with that which kind of dragged it on was when you're so stock, everyone was losing bumpers and axles, and the rule here is if that happens, they pull them off the track. So I think it dragged a little bit longer only because you got to keep pulling the bumpers off the track the whole time. I don't think anyone had their bumper left on.
No, there was a lot of stuff coming off in there. There's stuff just falling apart.
But it was cool to see one wheel peel. Guys are running out there with one wheel peel. Is just really old school for a few minutes.
Well,
it was fun to watch.
That was a class where one car had an airbag go off, and it blew.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, 40 foot in the air, 50
It did.
foot in the air.
It was awesome.
Boom! And I'm like, man, that doesn't look like tires.
You had that happen. You had that happen when you were minivan.
I'll tell you, when an airbag goes off, it hurts. It's painful. You should probably take them out first.
Right?
Good idea.
Hey, I learned my lesson.
We talked a little bit about Josh Braun. I mean, the turn back the clock feature, there's a little bit of an elephant in the room. So we'll just kind of tackle that thing head on. It came down to the 3 Braun cars and Toby and Randy Hiley.
And Bill Petro.
And Petro was out there.
Petro
was hung on his own bumper.
Yep.
Stuck, high-centered. He wasn't going anywhere.
No.
In an effort to even the playing field, one of the Hileys knocked him free.
Yeah.
He makes a couple hits. Could you argue that time had expired on the Petro car? Probably could have argued it, but he wasn't flagged. His flag was still up, so he was still good to go. He goes out, he makes a couple hits. Then he throws it in reverse, backs over his bumper again. He's nosed in next to another disabled vehicle. That's it for him. He's done. The clock expires on him.
Down to 3-2.
Now it's 3-2. The 2 Hileys taking on the 3 Brauns. Red flag flies. 2 Brauns lose their flag. Completely changes the momentum now.
It really did.
And it turns around. Randy Hiley got pinned against the wall. He goes down. Toby Hiley now ends up getting pinned against the wall.
Yeah, he's actually, the leaf springs, he was rolling so much. The front of the leaf springs were in the dirt, and he could get a little bit of movement, but Toby, if he just dug himself a hole, he was done. He was virtually done. Braun was looking.
Josh Braun's able to make contact repeatedly.
Yes.
And they're flagging him in. He took it a little bit easy on the final shot in, collected the check, and that was the end of that story. $10,000 richer with that victory for Josh Braun. Really, had numbers on his side. The whole feature. It was an hour and 5 minutes, I believe.
Yes,
was the duration of that feature.
Yep.
Had the numbers on his side the whole time.
Yep.
And he rallied after getting tossed from his qualifying heat. I believe that was the Braun car that went to the consolation.
Yes.
And turned around and won the thing. So, Josh, first from your perspective as a driver and having watched that, what are some of your thoughts on what went down there?
It's a really tough call there because we're at such a high level, and it's tough to ever stop a derby at such a high level. But it's tough because you see some teaming going on, you see some slower pace. What do you do? I kind of see everybody's point in this, Brian. I really
absolutely
do.
And we haven't had a chance to talk with Tim or Wes yet to see what the official word is. I kind of felt like it was basically 3-on-3 or 2-on-3. Let them eat. You know what I mean? The best man win.
But what Russ said to me real quickly when I was out there was, Josh, I warned these guys not only earlier today in the heats, but then right before the feature, we had another drivers meeting, and I warned these guys this will not happen. And he said, I'm a man of my word, and if I said this isn't going to happen, I can't let it happen, Josh. And he's like, I went with my gut, and I feel I was right, and I respect that. I mean,
Yep.
Again, all of us have to go with our gut and what we feel is right. And again, some people were not agreeing with it, but it made for a very interesting ending. I mean, everybody was just staring at the track, saying, everyone was talking, what is going on, and how's this going to come out, and very interesting ending.
And what would the outcome have been if the roles were reversed and it was the Braun car against the wall and the two Hiley cars still running and moving and right in front of the flagger, and it ultimately came down that the Hiley cars walk away with the check. I mean, I think that there probably would have been portions of the grandstand torn down.
Oh boy,
Possibly,
It's interesting. Different areas, the far side of the track was booing and throwing things onto the track, but our side was cheering, and it was really weird to see different parts of the stadium feeling differently about the same thing going on. But great point, Chris. It's what do you do there? Who was wrong? I don't know. I don't know if anybody was.
I mean, it's not a matter of who was wrong or who was right or anything like that. Ultimately, it was the officials. It was ultimately the officials' decision on something that they felt they were adequately warned on.
And I mean, that's that's the thing is, like Josh said. I mean, the official made a decision and he stuck to it. Right, wrong, or different.
If you're gonna make a decision, you got to stick to it.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you said you said he had said in the meeting, I'm a man of my word, and he said it and he did it. I mean,
and you got to understand that and respect that.
Absolutely,
and that's what you want from a promoter, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But I also understand, you're down to 5 guys, and there's 6,000 people watching in the stands. It's really tough to decide who's going to win money by a decision of a promoter or a tech. It's tough when you're into the money. If there was 20 cars left and you took the 18th car out, not a big deal. But again, we're talking about the guys that were down into the money. Yeah. And really, it was such a wish-wash because it was 3-on-3, 3-on-2, then it was 2-on-1, then it was 1-on-1, and then just such a back and forth. The last few minutes was just crazy. And Braun's car was still straight at the end.
If it was 5 unrelated cars, this wouldn't even be being talked about.
Absolutely.
You are very correct.
Absolutely right.
Very correct.
And Brian made the point before any of us did ahead of him. We haven't had a chance. I mean, they're still wrecking cars out there, and they're going to be doing it for a little while longer.
Russ can't even talk. I went over to him, and he's like, he can't even. That's how bad his voice is. So we ain't going to talk to him tonight.
No. I don't think we're going to be talking to much of anybody tonight. It is thinning out. The cars that have already run have loaded up, and they're headed for the hills, and that's something that we're probably going to be doing here fairly quick. As we start turning our direction back east. But we wanted to make sure that we brought you at least something. We are off tomorrow. We're going to be taking a holiday on Monday. You've got plenty of stuff to catch up on anyway. We had a total of this will be episode number 6 from right here at the Cioppa. Episode number 5 from the Cioppa trailer. Episode number 6 from here at Bash for Cash.
And a great weekend. I mean, we got to see and talk to just about everybody you could ever want to.
Yeah.
And everyone was so great. We just went from family to family, group to group, and everyone just takes you in and laughs and has a good time. It was a great atmosphere here this weekend. I really had a great time. I really did.
Yeah, this is it was amazing.
We got to hang with Gumby and the Gullos and Bobby Brockway come over, but we hang out with the tags a lot today, and it was so great to talk California to New York, and what I thought of California, they virtually told me I was out to lunch. What you're imagining, Josh, that is not how Derbian is in California. And it was we had great conversations today with just about everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. It was,
and that's the great thing about events like this. You just walk down the line and you stop and talk, and it's so fun. It's so fun to talk Derbian all day.
Absolutely,
it really was a ball, and the people just kept coming and coming and coming. I mean, this place was absolutely mobbed at the start of that the Turn Back the Clock feature.
Yeah,
and nobody's really left.
No, and
the
really,
stands are still packed.
The stands were packed. But what was really cool is just everybody was working on cars. There was really no downtime anywhere.
No.
There was so much going on. There was so much going on throughout the day.
It was hard to describe the atmosphere in the pits today because while a lot of the guys were over there, they were open for business. And they were getting ready for the concert, or they're getting ready for the feature. At the same time, you've got guys that are just coming in
Oh, yeah,
getting ready to do their one and done.
Fresh stuff, yeah.
Then you've got other guys who are done, who are just laid back, taking in the rest of it because there's nothing they can do to get their stuff ready.
Right.
So there was all these different dynamics, and then when you go over to the vendor side, it's this nervous anticipation over there. It was a really interesting energy on the grandstand side of things. And then once they started smashing cars, it was just everybody was just on their feet, baking in the sun, getting sunburned, and cheering on their favorite drivers.
Absolutely.
You know, the feeling I got this morning, Chris, and you can kind of associate with it. It felt like Sunday morning at Syracuse.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. Everybody, like the guys that are in the show already, they're checking every nut and bolt and the body and this and that, and that's how it was. The Cioppas were here, and they got both their 2 out of the 3 cars ready to go, and you walked around. I mean, that's what got one of the guys from Cadillac Heaven was parked right here next to us, Stromey, and he was working on his car, and he was I just stood back out of his way and watched, and the engineering he was doing, it was amazing on the back of that car. In the car, they'd never been any more in the back. I mean, it was
really fun to watch different styles of fixing the car.
Oh yeah,
there was really a lot of engineering going on. It was pretty neat to watch what guys were doing to get this to bend and that to bend, and they're hooking to the truck, to the halo, to a winch. Man, it was cool. It was cool to watch them put them back together.
I thought that same thing about Syracuse when we first got here.
Yep.
And it was still quiet. Everything was still. And that smell of wet campfire was still hanging in the air. You know what I mean? That really set the bar for that Syracuse feel.
Of course, Syracuse is usually raining, snowing, sleet. It wasn't sunny and 70 like
it's not like this.
But beautiful weekend.
Sunny understatement.
Yeah.
Couldn't have asked for better weather.
Yeah.
Really couldn't have.
Of course, poor Ben's got to go back to welding Tuesday morning. And
Ben's on fire. He looks like a lobster.
Yeah, he's got the the very bad sunburn working, so feel bad for him.
Not for lack of sunscreen. I mean, he tried.
Oh no, he did. He was lathering, and it just
he got crispy.
Yeah, missed a little bit or something.
Spend that much time walking around the pits, it's going to happen.
Yeah. And what was awesome is, like I said, I've said it 100 times, but from the last time I was here to this time I was here, the builds here have changed, and
dramatically.
And Ben was explaining, he goes, some guys are going to build a wagon and it's going to do this. Some guys are going to build a wagon and it's going to do that.
Yes.
So I walked through the pits and I'm like, son of a gun. It's, exactly like Ben explained it. And he just adds so much, that we could try to bring on,
It's like having a tour guide.
It is. It really is.
No, really, because I don't even know what I'm looking at. It's like, thank God Ben is here. Ben, because I'm lost what I'm looking at right now. And Ben saves me in conversations, because guys think I know what I'm talking about. And then I don't. And it's like I look at Ben, and Ben's like, no.
This is what Josh really means.
It's like, thank you, Ben. Thanks for jumping in there, Ben. You made me look better.
Ben, anytime, take over.
Now, Ben knows his stuff. Definitely does.
And the thing is when he comes back, and he's holding his Mountain Dew, which is probably his 37th, 38th of the day.
He's cut down to like 14 a day now.
Around 10 a.m. He comes walking back, and he's got
the look.
Yeah. You ever notice after he sees something that impresses him, he changes how he walks?
Oh, yeah.
And he kind of kicks at the grass in front of him when he walks up to you. Yeah. And he's got the Mountain Dew out there, and he's just shaking his head.
Yeah,
and so,
all right, what do you got to say? Let's hear it.
Yeah.
And he comes back, and he's like, you'll never believe this. And he talks about this he learned something.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, if that's the guy that's still learning stuff, all the other builders Josh doesn't have a prayer.
No. Is that true? I'm going to have Ben start building my cars. Him and Vern together, I'd be doing all right.
Absolutely.
How cool was it for Vern to get the opportunity to crew on one of the Cioppa cars?
He was loving it.
Yeah.
He was loving it. He said it. He got all cut up and stuff, and he's like, I feel awesome about it. He's like, I got battle scars from Cioppa. It's like, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that was.
And those guys did just fine. Todd ended up smash topping his wagon and got hung on the wall there in the feature.
And he was doing awesome, and he took a bad shot and got hung up. But that wagon looks the same now as it did when it went out there. I really would have liked to see him go. I think he would have been somebody to reckon with.
When the heat ended, the back of that was garbage.
Yeah.
Split right open. Yeah. And how they made it look when it pulled it in the feature was like, wow. I mean, the amount of work and how tight it was and how hard it was. Like you said, Brian, he was hitting with it. People were hitting him. It did not move.
I have no idea who that was.
He's lucky he didn't get punched.
Wow.
He's lucky he didn't get punched.
Good thing Bird wasn't here.
I don't know if you saw my face. I just got mad all of a sudden. I just got mad. I'm sorry.
He's popular. Popular guy.
Just got mad right there.
Everybody wants to be near Josh Decker.
No, that guy almost made me mad.
But
I thought he was going to kiss Chris. I'm not going to lie.
That was slow.
yeah, where's Bobby Broccoli? He's supposed to roll you out of your chair. We need to get into this.
Bobby Broccoli was hilarious today. He had me in tears. He is a great guy.
He threw down the gamut. He is going to roll you on your lid to the point where he said you should put the roof sign on the bottom of your car so everybody knows who you are when you're sitting on the top of it.
He's a great guy. He cracks me up.
The whole time, obviously, we're as a show, very good friends with Bobby, and just busting chops, and just like somebody you've been running at home with for 20 years, and we've known him for.
It's almost like because we're all derby drivers, you almost have a bond.
I think it's great that Josh thinks he was joking.
I'm not. If he's not, I'm screwed. I don't care. No, Bobby's. If he rolls me, he rolls me. What's up, Vern? Who?
Did you hear that? Listen.
3C1. Don Santel taking second here. We're getting unofficial results from Vern who?
3C
Santel number 2 and 3C.
Justin Gilmartin was the closest.
Yes, Gilmartin called Santel.
And we're going to call that he was the closest on both.
I wasn't even close.
Wow.
I was way off.
Wow.
You did
you didn't know the 1 hour and 33 minutes
Holy
for the
cow.
feature.
Hour and 33.
Santel second.
Unbelievable.
Who was third?
Who did?
Cram.
Or Fushi? Wow.
They're still trying to tell the number on it, sounds like.
Yeah.
Think about this. You ran 50 minutes yesterday.
Yeah.
You put your car back together.
And
you have to run an
hour and a
33.
half.
This is with one vehicle.
Yeah.
Anybody from New York is saying, what are we talking about? In that amount of time, I could wreck 10 cars.
Oh, absolutely. Now, let's be honest. Our cars can run for an hour, but it's when they're sitting in the garage and we're making sure nothing's leaking.
Yeah, mine cannot run for an hour. At idle, will not run that long.
Colin Cram, by the way, who unofficially picked up the win.
Congratulations,
and the number 3 seeds from Villa Ridge, Illinois.
Think how exhausted they are right now.
Don
Exhausted.
Santel, second place from New Memphis in the X2C. Both of those cars qualified to the feature.
Santel broke stick.
Both of those cars qualifying out of heat number 4.
Santel looks so great in the heat, and he's been running great in that feature. I mean, he's a great driver.
Yes,
he's really
he
fun
is.
to watch. He picks
Excellent
everyone
driver.
off, and very good driver. Knows his car, knows what his car looks like, how it's bending.
Santel's one of the best, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Hands down. Hands down. I don't think anybody's going to argue that point. I forgot what it was that we were talking about there before we were able to give you the update there about Colin Crane. We were talking about how you were going to get rolled over by Bobby.
Why'd you have to bring that back up? Why'd you bring that back up? And I called
Because
Bobby as the winner today, and then he comes over and immediately says he's going to roll me over. It's
Yeah,
like, I picked you as the winner, man.
Yeah, you picked him as the winner, and he goes over and he goes, I'm not even running.
I know. What a bad choice. I'm not picking you next time, Bobby.
They were ripping parts off his car to put together.
Yeah.
His car was rough.
I was sitting there talking to Jeremy Gard, and they're like, we need this and this. He's like, yeah, just go get it off Bobby's car. He's not running. They're like, what? He's like, yeah, just go get it off Bobby's car. He's not running. We're good. So, and obviously they're all very
But that's
good
how you
friends
work
and
as a
run
team.
together.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
But it was funny to stand there. And the guy, unfortunately, I don't know the gentleman he told to go to it, but he kind of looked at him funny. He's like, you sure Bobby's not running? No, he's not. Load it up. Go get it. And
Well, the Cadillac Heaven guys, if you go all the way out back, there's a Cadillac laying out there with no rear end. And
Really?
they must have pulled the rear end and shoved it under another one. It's just laying against the dirt.
that's
I know,
awesome.
and when
That's cool.
that guy that lives in Indiana goes out there and finds that his car's got no rear end,
He's
Maybe.
not going to be a happy person.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Not going to be happy.
Me and Vern go by there, and Vern's like, what happened here? And I'm like, they had it taken out of there. No way they got knocked out of there.
either that or it was stolen.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately, that has been the case this weekend for some stuff.
That went around, and we would love for anyone who was involved with those things that ended up costing Joker a few parts and cost Bobby some parts, man up and return your stuff.
Jesse Kunkel also.
I misspoke.
Eric Ellis, someone stole his steering column right here this afternoon.
Yep, I heard him tell Brett that.
It's just, I'll tell you what, if you're doing that, just stop derbying, because we don't want guys like you, and I hope we find out who it is, because we're going to let everybody know who it is.
Yeah.
If you're a thief, if you're a scumbag, we're not interested in it. I don't want to see any of that here.
Nope.
And, everyone is great, and there are three or four jerks will ruin it for us, and
Not welcome.
if you know who they are, you make sure you tell them not to come again.
Yeah, absolutely. Or let us know who they are. so
Somebody
we
had
can
a-
get
We'll
them
take
out
care
there.
of it.
Somebody had a bunch of race fuel stolen too. I can't remember who
Come
that was.
on.
It was over on that side in the middle that somebody had. I can't remember who it was. I was talking to Bobby actually was telling me about the fuel thing, and I can't remember who it was that had it taken, but they some of that got lifted as well.
You know, guys, we're
$10 a gallon.
Listen, we all know it. We're all trying to elevate the sport. We've all been doing it for years, trying to elevate the sport. That's the kind of shit that makes us look country and hick. Don't be doing it.
Yeah.
Just don't be doing it.
Yeah, not very classy, whoever did it. Hopefully you're listening.
Yeah, I hope you are. And I hope you feel guilty, you jerk. Sorry. I don't like Steelers. I don't like thieves. I don't like Steelers.
No. Thief and the Steelers, the same thing, bud. Just saying.
Brian, I'm tired.
You are.
I'm going to have to drive for 9 hours.
You know what's going to be awesome is watching you and Vern cuddle in the back all the way home.
I bet Vern drives for about 7 of the hours and Ben's the other 2.
It could go down that way.
Who's driving first? Let's flip coins right now. Vern, it's you.
I'll drive. Once I hit the rubble strips, I'll wake right back up. We'll be good.
Okay, so we're going to have to find somebody else.
Chris is not driving. I know that.
I'm not driving.
No.
Hey. Chicago Bears fan.
Poor guy.
Good luck for that guy.
Well, gentlemen.
Yeah.
My eyes are shutting.
Yeah, we're running out of steam here. That's
cross-eyed is what you're saying? Yeah, my eyes are cross-eyed too.
A little bit.
They'll straighten out while we're driving, Ben.
It'll be fine.
Once Bud gets that second, third, maybe fourth Mountain Dew in him, he'll be good to go.
You know what I said to Chris is I bet Facebook is pretty quiet tomorrow because right here there's 6,500 exhausted people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exhausted
no
people.
question about that.
You know?
Yeah.
If you camped, if you built a car, if you promoted, if you tech, it didn't matter what you did. You worked hard this weekend.
If you were dummies talking on the computer, everybody.
I got to say, everybody was working hard,
Yeah.
But it was a fun weekend. It really was great.
It was an excellent weekend. And congratulations to Josh Brown and Colin Crane coming away with wins in their respective divisions. And we'll update you a little bit more here with all the whole litany of winners as stuff comes.
And we got to get official ones.
This is all speculation anyway. Yeah. They got to go through their post race assessments and make sure everything is legal there. I think that's going to do it for us. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. A couple really long days, exciting days, stuff that we're going to remember for a long time. I can't say thank you enough to the Cioppas, Derby Tees, DerbyParts.com, and Tim and Russ Clark here with Smash It Demolition Derbies and Bash for Cash 2014. Any final thoughts?
I can't wait to come back next year.
It's just amazing. It far exceeded my expectations. Were extremely high. But like Chris said, I also want to thank the Cioppas. I mean, they were
awesome to us.
We were treated like gold.
Nah, they were great.
Absolutely
guys.
Gold. Tim and Russ. You guys want to come in here and do what we're inspecting, do your show. You want to go over there and watch inspections. Anything you guys want to do. They stopped by yesterday and today. How you guys doing? We as a group were treated incredible, and it's just it's a great feeling.
Thanks for the love, everybody.
Yeah,
it means a lot to us. It really does.
We appreciate that, and we can't say thanks enough to everybody who's been tuning in and watching all these things as we've been uploading them to the internet. And as a final note, again, we're taking Monday off.
Now, please let me.
We're not going. We will not be on the air on Monday in observance of the holiday. Special recognition again to
Josh Tagg.
Josh Tagg, who he's even gone as far as earning Purple Hearts and
Medal of Valor. I heard his father said today also.
That's a fairly good one too.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's
good kid.
One other thing I wanted to do, and I think you guys will agree, Vern and Ben, they
super big help.
They, as we said, Ben's our technical guy. He tells us, this is what's going to happen, and it does, and this is why they do it. And
Vern's in the driver's seat with the key on. He's ready to go.
Vern has unpacked the van.
Shut it off. Gas ain't cheap.
Vern has unpacked the van. We get done, and he's going to pack it up. But
he's a great help, guys.
Yeah,
we got a good core of guys here.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Stop revving the engine and shut it off.
All right,
he's revving it out. Rev limiter. All right, so Opus are ready to go home.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yeah, we're
ready.
here, you guys. We're ready.
Yeah. All right, here we go, guys. Thanks a lot. We appreciate everything, and we'll see you right back here again next time on the Crash Course. Thanks, guys. The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derbies.
host of the 2014 Bash for Cash Memorial Day Weekend, Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Their event sponsors, DerbyParts.com and DerbyTees.com. Additional consideration provided by Cioppa Racing and CioppaRacing.com. The 2014 Keystone Nationals, July 19th, Brookville, Pennsylvania. And GH Graphics and their Junket apparel line.